All right. Hello, everybody. This is Tom Randolph from GoldenCare. I want to welcome you to the webinar today. I know your time is valuable, so we'll start out here at 11. I know we have some people signing on, but I have some housekeeping to take care of at the beginning anyway. So I just want to make sure you know that you can see on the welcome screen, if you're seeing my screen, which you hopefully are, you want to check out our website at goldencareagent.com. Give us a call at the number up here, 800-842-7799. After we're done today, I got a great support team who can help you out. We've got a lot of longevity here, a lot of people who have been with us for a long time, really understand the ins and outs of this market and how to transition from what a lot of our agents have done in the past, selling mainly long-term care, and kind of moving into this more extended care market. And this is going to be a fun webinar. Hopefully we'll have some fun together today. We've got a lot of tools here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that. But if you haven't got appointed with GoldenCare or one of our partners who have access to our tools, we sure recommend you do that, because we've got a lot of great things to help you with as you're in the trenches helping the folks. And you're going to see today I'm joined by my partner in crime, Dennis Reiner. And Dennis and I have been in this market together pretty much from the start. So we're well over 25 years now, unfortunately. We've been doing this too long, but the good news is we have a lot of experience. We've got a lot of ways to help out. And today, like I said, we're going to have a little bit of fun kind of going through. And, you know, Dennis and I are like an old married couple, jumping back and forth, talking, saying, why don't you handle this, you handle this, etc. And today, you can see my little dude there. If your videos work, and he's kind of, that's the closest I could get to drinking out of a fire hose, because we're going to go through kind of a broad spectrum today as an introduction to how to get in there and start using extended care and start offering it to more and more of your clients. And Dennis, why don't you jump in and talk a little bit about, you know, overall quick hello, and then we'll jump back and forth like we always do.
Thanks, Tom, and thanks everyone for joining us. And whether today you are someone who's sold long-term care in the past, or whether you are mainly selling Medicare, final expense, it really doesn't matter. But the importance of cross-selling couldn't be any there's no better time than right now to introduce your clients to this topic. And the statistics are pretty overwhelming. Most of you who've been in this business know not only about those that are turning 65 to 10,000 plus every day, but now we know that many, the majority, will need some type of care in the future. And whether they're individuals or if they're married couples, the numbers even go up dramatically, 90%, as you can see on the screen. And of course, the really sad reality is that 90% of these individuals have really never planned ahead. They've never had discussion. And during COVID, we experienced this statistic that 61% of those surveys said they would rather die than go into a nursing home. In fact, a recent AARP survey said that 86% of people would rather age in place than actually go to a facility. So, Tom, the reality is that the demand is getting higher and higher, and the market has shifted. And maybe I'll just talk about this for just a quick moment and then turn it back over to you. But, you know, Tom mentioned our experience, and, you know, back in the day, we were mainly selling products like long-term care to the senior market. But what's happened is the shift is that the carrier appetite went away. We began to help less people because underwriting became more problematic. And with the underwriting difficulties, it created a lot of frustration in the marketplace. Even though the buying age was coming down with long-term care, what we found is our declinations were going up. And so about 3 years ago, Tom and I looked at each other and said, if we continue on this path, we're not going to be in business, because you cannot run a business and you cannot run your own individual practices that for every 2 individuals that you talk to, that you only can help 1. And so therefore, there had to be a shift. And so the products today that you're going to see that we're going to talk about are products that have less underwriting, they have less moving parts, and they're more affordable. And that's really the secret sauce to success, is to make sure that we can help more individuals. And virtually with these solutions today that you'll see, and there's others. And by the way, this market is going to continue to evolve and change, and it's going to look a lot different a year from now than it looks today. But these are some of the carriers that we have with Manhattan Life, with GTL, with Wallaby. And we're also going to talk a little bit about a home care product that is in all 50 states. So, Tom, this is something that I know as you talk about some of the changes about differences with LTC versus this term STC, and you can speak to maybe about why that's not the best term, I'll let you continue on our discussion here.
You bet. Thanks, Dennis. And that's one of the things that we talk about. And it's kind of a fun time to be back in this industry. You know, we've done this so long, and if any of the rest of you, I know of some of the names I've seen on the attendee list. We've got people literally in all the states out there, and we've got a lot of people I don't recognize, but a lot of people I do. And it's kind of funny because when you do this for as long as we have, you know, we've went through all this different fluctuations in the market, if you will, and we saw some of the greatest times ever in long-term care back in the day. And now we helped design the Mutual of Omaha product, as a lot of you know, and we brought that from number 10 to number 1. And then we started seeing, you know, some of the problems in the industry, and you kind of go through a couple of years sometimes of feeling like, oh man, we're beating our head against the wall, like Dennis said. And, you know, it's just the kind of the nature of the beast. And now this is kind of excited when you get into this extended care market. And that, when we say extended care, we kind of mean the full short-term care plans that have facility and home care, and the home health care only plans out there, and even plans like True Freedom that aren't true insurance plans, but they can help people when they need it the most. And all the percentages are in our favor. We talk about this a lot, where we've got the perfect storm coming up. These percentages, because of the way these products pay out, that 70% number Dennis talked about at the beginning, 70% of the people once they're 65 will need these type of plans. You know, truthfully, when it was long-term care, there was a lot of claims because they had that 90-day requirement for long-term care. You didn't see that. You didn't have long-term care step in for some of those shorter claims. And now these short-term care plans, I tell you what, it's ridiculous, the fact that all the percentages help us out. Number one, more people are going to need it, and we're starting to turn heads as Medicare and Medicaid get in more trouble. And number two, what we're seeing is these plans really do pay for 70% of the folks, or even higher, because when they have things like hip replacements, knee replacements, and things like that, these short-term care plans pay an indemnity benefit, so they pay regardless of other insurance. And these plans will pay when long-term care would have said, I'm going to step back and wait and see if you need it for the full 90 days. So these plans say, hey, if you need help with ADLs, activities of daily living, or if you have a cognitive impairment, we're going to step in and help. And that's one of the cool things about these plans. So we're not going to have time to hit everything today, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of pluses in that right-hand column over there that are going to help us out and really help you help your clients. Because if anybody's been around, or if you've ever even looked in the mirror or looked in the newspaper or heard a TV show, you know we have a lot of aging in America. We have a lot of gray hair. And with those baby boomers all coming up to the year 2030, 31, where they're going to be hitting that prime claim age, we're going to turn a lot more heads in this industry. So sorry to get on my soapbox there, but I do really feel confident that number one, we're going to have easier time starting the conversation out in the field and helping people, because they are going to be more interested, because they're going to have some claims experience with their parents, etc. And number two, we've got some plans that just can do fantastic things nowadays that we just didn't have available even a few years ago. Some of these newest short-term care plans are incredibly robust and incredibly flexible and very affordable for your clients. So without going through this and beating you over the head, drinking out of the fire hose again, I do want you to know, long-term care plans, remember, basically were over 2 years. So they had unlimited plans out there, but tougher to come by today, but there are a couple out there. But these are the longer term plans, right? They're aptly named. One of the biggest things we talk about a lot, Dennis and I joke about, is the worst thing about these short-term care plans is their name, because short-term care plans are basically under 2 years worth of benefits, so 2 years or under, but they can be so robust that you can really build up, you know, on some of our other trainings we talk about, you can sell $1 million plan with these short-term care plans. So you'll hear us use extended care a lot when we're talking to agents and consumers, because we don't want them to get turned off and say, well, short-term care, that must pay for 10 or 12 days or 15 days when you get out of the hospital. They do a lot more than that. These plans can be really, really powerful at claim time. So we want to make sure you as an agent understand that for sure. But the good news with these plans, they've got some positives that help them out. These limited benefit periods of the 2-year max, you can have 1 year with facility and 1 year with home care on the same claim with a lot of these plans. The nice thing about that is they're limited benefit periods still, right? They don't have that runaway inflation or that runaway claim time. That's what really kind of killed the LTC industry with those legacy business blocks that some of you may know about. Is wasn't the vast majority of claims. The vast majority of claims were relatively small, but we ended up where some of these big claims that went on for 10 years and cost millions of dollars for the carriers, that ended up hurting entire blocks of business. You're not going to have that problem with short-term care. So shorten it down here, Dennis, sorry. The underwriting net is much, much wider, tons easier. We'll talk a little bit about that today, but I can't stress it enough. You'll hear us talk about the easy button a lot with short-term care. These plans, you don't have to go to med school and have a 30-page application with a bunch of medical questions. With short-term care, it's very short apps, 1 page of questions. If you do a home health care only plan, it's basically, hey, are you in a facility right now or are you receiving care right now? If you're not, you can get a policy. That's easy, and that makes agents more comfortable to come out of there and step off the fence and offer plans because it's so much simpler when you're in front of your client. So Dennis and I joke a lot about short-term care kind of allows you to go back to the future where we used to go out and do tons of live seminars about long-term care and be able to help the vast majority of the people in the audience. Now we can't do that anymore with just long-term care or these hybrid plans. Now we need some other alternatives. And I always include this slide. I give kudos to Lynn on our team because she did a great job with the graphics, but to me, it just fits so well. Short-term care really does deserve a seat at the big boys table. It's easier, you don't need certifications to sell it, and it's easier to sell, and it's easier to get people covered, and people get claims faster with short-term care. Plus, they can have, with restoration in these plans, the ability to have full-blown benefits for the more catastrophic claims that they might come across. So it's really a product that's going to change this industry, I believe. Dennis, you want to add anything to that? We'll go into some of the availability.
Oh, that's perfect, Tom.
You can go ahead here if you want, Dee.
Sure. So, you know, as I mentioned a little earlier, right now we're showing you kind of somewhat of a limited menu, if you will, but that menu is going to continue to expand. The great thing about this marketplace is as the carriers begin to see how attractive these extended care plans are, many more will flood the marketplace. And so currently, if you look at right now, the state availability, as Tom indicated about these different plans, GTL's in 37 states with their Recover Cash. OmniFlex, which is underwritten by Manhattan Life, is in 35 states. Wallaby came out, the most recent entry, last August, and now started with 10 and now has 24 states. And so you can kind of see a map of where the availability is. You're not going to have products in some of the areas that tend to be problematic, where the extended care products have a difficult time getting approval by the various states. And so this is what we have in the short-term care. The home care looks pretty much the same, but there's a couple exceptions that I also want to just share with you and pick up a little bit on this hybrid story that Tom talked about in a moment about another opportunity that can be available to you that we're not showing on the screen here. So GTL's in 35 states with their short-term home care. And as Tom said, these are virtually guaranteed issue products. Manhattan's in 35, and they've got a previous version that's still in Kansas, Kentucky, and Maryland that will be part of the Home Healthcare Select, but have not received approval yet. And then, as Tom mentioned, we have True Freedom, which is a prepaid home care with no medical underwriting, just a suitability question or two, and it's in all 50 states. And along those same lines, I want to come back to the hybrid, because when we talked about declinations, and Tom mentioned about taking mutual from number 10 to number 1, it doesn't matter if you're selling any of the hybrid products, underwriting has been problematic across the board. So not mentioned on this slide is ask us about, as a follow-up to this webinar, another hybrid that we actually have that's a life with a true 7702B long-term care. It's on a group certificate, and it goes down to 1 life. It's underwritten actually by Chubb. And this only has 1 underwriting question for a face amount of 25, not even underwriting. It's a 1 question face amount of 25, 50, or 75,000. And that is, are you working 30 hours a week, yes or no? And that goes from ages 19 to 70. And the reason I bring that to your attention, because that product is also available in California and in Florida and in New Jersey, which are states that we've had some difficulty with our extended care. So Tom, I just wanted to make sure that that's all in the same lineup as far as an extended care opportunity, because we're basically, as everyone on this call knows, we're in the problem-solving business, which means that when a client comes to you and they're looking for a solution, they have a problem. And if we are not the solution, they will turn and go somewhere else. And so I want you to know that we want to make sure that we have this perfect portfolio, which is a solution in all 50 states.
You bet. You
and
bet.
As we go forward, Tom. Yeah.
No problem. I just sorry to interrupt there, but I just wanted to stress that, that's really where it comes down to it. And we want to show you some of the tools we have to help you be successful out there, because especially for some of you who are on this call, maybe selling other products, final expense or Medicare, and you haven't really delved into this extended care market. I want to make sure you realize that we talk a lot about the old cliches, we don't toss you out of the plane without a parachute. So I'm going to jump over really quick and just show you that we have a lot of tools available. For example, that map I showed you didn't include Aetna's recovery care on there, but it's another big short-term care product that can be valuable choice for some of your clients. And we have tools available that'll show you like bird's eye view. And I'm not going to get into this today for time's sake and start training on the products and the major part of the product training. But we do have individualized webinars on, here's a closer look at the niches for Omniflex and Wellaby, or Omniflex and Aetna. And GTL is a great plan. That's the Recover Cash up here. This is Aetna's Essential Care. And we have, like I said, tools available to show you where the niches are and some of the different riders and discounts that are offered by these different plans. So that's, again, why I'm showing you this today. And we talk about drinking out of the fire hose. We have everything you need to be successful, because we can't stress enough the importance of just cross-selling and starting the conversation. Whatever you're offering out there, whatever you're doing, I'm going to show you on this site, so I'm getting ahead of myself, Dennis, but I want to make sure the agents understand. Don't worry, number one, about the underwriting, for example. Literally what I said before about a home health care only plan says, hey, are you getting care right now, or are you in a facility? If you're not, we can get a plan for you. Short-term care is not that much further away. I mean, when I get into short-term care, I'm just going to segue over and show you, for example, this is the Omniflex short-term care application. It's one of the fastest growing plans out there right now. It's just been knocking the cover off the ball. And the reason is, we helped design this with Manhattan Life, and we wanted it to be super easy for people to be able to say, hey, I can get this plan. And on the flip side, when you're doing what we're working with agents like you, we want you to feel comfortable saying, hey, I don't have to go to medical school to try to sell these products. Long-term care kind of got to that point, didn't it? Where all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, there's 16 different implications of diabetes here, and I have to understand how to field underwrite. You don't have to do that with these products we're talking about. The home health care was super, super easy. But look at this application for, Dennis, if you don't mind, I'm going to segue over here. If I start the conversation, whatever I'm selling my clients, I can say, I'm really glad I got this MedSup or this MA plan in place. Before I let you go, I got to ask you a simple question. Do you have your extended care taken care of? And literally, we have training sessions on this that I want you guys to know. Easy button all day long. It's really simple. People look at you and say, well, yes, and they're probably saying, I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't want to get into it. And then you just weed out what they're actually talking about. Or if they say, no, I don't, or if they say, yes, I do, we can show you how to segue into the conversation. Then you say a simple thing like, the key with these, you develop the need just a little bit more. Then you just say, hey, you buy these plans now more with your health, than you do with your checkbook. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to ask you a couple of health questions. I think I know the answers to most of these, but I want to make sure I'm offering you the correct plan. Is that fair? If you're sharing your screen, it's so easy, it's not even funny, but I can go in here and I'll show you a couple tools to get more deep into the underwriting if you want to. But the key is, look at how easy this is as a 2-minute conversation with a client, especially if you've already built a rapport with that client and you're actually cross-selling. Hey, Jim and Betty, I just want to make sure, first of all, to cover my bases, you don't have AIDS or HIV or anything like that I haven't heard about? No. Okay, you're not currently on Medicare due to disability prior to 65, you're not disabled, right? Okay, Then look at question 3 here, and I won't read these all to you today, but look at how easy this is when you look at the actual application. These are the same questions that'll be on the e-app if you've sold Omniflex for Manhattan Life. And look at how simple it is. Hey, are you currently able to perform those activities of daily living? You can read them off to them. Are you getting home care right now? I don't think you're living in a rehab facility or nursing facility or anything, right? Okay, then look at these big conditions. These are big. Alzheimer's, major cognitive impairments, chorea, Huntington's, excuse me, Parkinson's, not even stage 1, 2, or 3, but only stage 4 and 5. These are the knockouts for Omniflex. And look at how big time they are. Here, diabetic complications resulting in some of these conditions. So if you're not diabetic, you don't have to worry about it. Same thing down here, diabetes with heart failure. Then to protect the carrier, in the last 12 months, have you had any tests or treatment or surgeries coming up, et cetera? So that obviously is to protect the carrier. And then down here, the only one that you're going to have a bigger portion of people is the cancer question, right? In the last 2 years, you've been treated for, not just checkups to make sure it's in remission, but treated for cancer. So that's how easy it is to see. And if they answer no to all these questions, you know you can offer at least some coverage with Omniflex on facility and home care. That's pretty good. Then you have a 2-tiered underwriting, and I'm not going to go through this in detail either, but look at how easy that is too. This is to find out if you can get $3,000 a month for the full year for both home care and facility, which is pretty strong, or if you can offer the full-blown plan. And even this 2-minute conversation, folks, especially if you're sharing your screen. Hey, let me go further now. Good news is I got a great policy for you. Let's find out how much coverage I can offer you. If you don't mind, I go a little deeper on your health. Then you say, in the last couple of years, have you had any of these conditions? And you can see here again, I'm throwing that underwriting net incredibly wide. This Omniflex plan, the reason I show this one is there's a lot of great policies out there in the short-term care and extended care arena. But as far as facility and home care, this is as loose underwriting as you can get out there, especially with the 2-tiered. So again, these are major. You can probably read them yourself, but later on, check it out. See how easy it is to go out there and start that conversation and realize you don't have to feel like the underwriting is going to be a big hurdle. Does that make sense? So from there, Dennis, I'll just keep rolling for a couple minutes and I'll let you jump in. But this is called our integritystc.com site. And this is where we tell you again, we don't throw you out of the plane without a parachute. Look at this. Here's the InstaPivot and StrataDecision tools for some underwriting help. This InstaPivot tool goes deeper into underwriting that you can look at for all the different products out there. Great tool that we want you to check out that we probably won't spend time today on. But then when you get down here, remember those maps Dennis showed you? Here's Omniflex, Recover Cash from GTL, Wellaby's plan. You click on that Learn More button and you're going to see everything you ever wanted to know about those products individually and all the support that's built just towards those products within. Then you get down to the home health care only plan, same thing. There's our Manhattan home health care only. Remember, 2-question knockout. Are you getting care right now or living in a facility? GTL's home care, same deal, except it does throw a cognitive question in there, but otherwise super easy to get. The net is incredibly wide. And then the True Freedom, which is not an insurance plan, but that prepaid home care plan that Dennis talked about. Again, as long as they're not receiving care right now, you're going to be able to get them some help. Okay, so can't stress enough the power of that. And if you go to the sales and marketing area, Dennis, I'm going to let you jump in here on the sales and marketing talk a little bit, and I'll open what you tell me to, just because I don't want to steal my stage time.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Well, you know, when Tom was going through the underwriting, one of the most important distinctions, you know, when he talked earlier about long-term care versus short-term care, is that most of the, and whether it's traditional long-term care or hybrids that require full underwriting, which normally require a phone interview, asking for medical records, in some cases, depending upon the age, even a face-to-face. These extended care plans are really easy because in most cases, we're talking about an RX drug screen. And so when Tom went through how easy the underwriting is, it's even easier as it relates to from the back end on the carrier standpoint, as far as from the approval. And the other aspect that is a big difference, Tom, is that we've thrown the net a lot wider with these extended care plans with in many cases, not only a good young pre-retirement issue age, but all the way up in many cases, depending upon the carrier, to 85 and to 89. And so we have a library here that Tom is scrolling through that gives you not only all the product information, but also gives you the webinars. I think it was last quarter, Tom, of 2023, and it seems like a blur now that we're past the first quarter of 2024. But I think we did something like 50 webinars in 35 days, and so you may want to speak to just how robust this site is as it relates to content as far as what agents can find.
You bet. When you go down to the sales and marketing area, and again, these tabs are up here, it's a typical website, real easy to move around with some redundancies to make it easy to find things. When you go to the sales and marketing area, we saw the product area that had the individual products. If you want to go up here to any one of these and click on home healthcare, it'll show you that map that Dennis showed earlier, so you'll know the product availability. This is a living, breathing site, you guys, so every time you need something, you're going to know that where you can get it, where it's going to be available, and we'll update this as it goes as well. So when you hit the sales and marketing area, you're going to see here, you get a bunch of stats at the beginning. Then you go down and you can click on the full pre-recorded webinar library. If you click on that, you'll see literally anything you'd ever want to know about the extended care market. Can they self-insure? What are home health care only plans? Coach's Corner, how to do plan choices and design, how to use the StratDecision tool, True Freedom products. So you're going to see basically anything you'd ever need. Overcoming objections were down in the corner. So we're proud of the fact that we have all that from some of our webinars we did that Dennis was talking about. When you go down to the fast facts, these are shorter little individualized segments talking about indemnity benefits and how robust these plans can be and cash within the plans. So lots of good things there for you after today's webinar that you can go to and check out at integritystc.com. Then you can get down in the strategies. And this is, Dennis did a great job. That's also available down here, some fireside chats. Dennis has been doing this a long time, and he's got a tremendous amount of knowledge about how to go out and talk to clients about some of these different extended care plans. So check that out as well. And then when you go down here, we have our InstaPivot tool again. You can access that from here, the StratDecision and InstaPivot tool that you can use to be able to help with underwriting or quoting. And then we even have ways you can go out and tell agents about this product, so you can have a downline, or we have a consumer section in there as well. So I can't stress enough the fact that we have everything you need to be successful within this site. And if I were to go back to like the Manhattan site, for example, from the home screen or here, you'll see an individualized map for Manhattan Omniflex plan, a quick little intro video to it if you want. And then down below, all these blue bars again that show you a bird's eye view of the product design. And each of our products will have this. So you can go into this site at any time, whether you're brand new to it or need a refresher, and you can check out all the different things we have to help you be successful in the trenches. So again, I'm not going to spend tons of time on this today, but I do want you to know that's one of the keys to understanding our key to success. We're breaking records out there, hitting the cover off the ball with extended care so far, and we haven't even hardly started the power of what we can do with these plans. So make sure you know we have everything you need. And Dennis, I'm going to jump back over to this and talk about really where we go from here, because what we'd like to do is have some of you jump on some of our future webinars that we're doing, not just our recordings, but some of our live webinars, and learn kind of the details where we get into, you know, not just product training, but showing you how to actually go out there and spend the time with the clients and keep the conversation going and answer objections, etc. Dennis, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, Tom, I thank you very much. And you know, the key is in this cross-selling initiative is that that you become that resource to that client in areas that maybe you aren't as confident in, and we'll show you how to get confident. You know, the key is on introducing the conversation, starting that conversation. I want to give you just a couple of reminders that when you have that opportunity to attend the next webinar, we're going to get into this 5-step selling process, and we're going to show you how, and you don't have to, you know, have an hour-and-a-half conversation with the clients. This is very, very short, where you can actually go in, and if it's the end of a review, or if it's the end of a sale that you just completed on another product like final expense or Medicare or any other ancillary product, you have the opportunity to bring up and to start the conversation. As Tom said, it's really easy to do. We'll show you how to basically go through the 5-step process. Here's just a couple examples of breaking the ice, and we also talk about creating the desire. You know, one of the things that we tell agents all the time, and you'll hear this in our next training, is that people don't always buy what they need, but they certainly almost always will buy what they want. And so what we want to help you in the next webinar is to learn how to prepare carefully. That is, when starting the conversation, covering the who, why, when, and how, and then how to position, whether you're positioning, and as Tom walked you through that underwriting, you can know in short order, hey, is this person a candidate for a full plan, or are they a candidate only maybe for a standalone home health care, or the True Freedom, or that hybrid product I referred to that has a life with long-term care that only has a question, are you working 30 hours a week, yes or no? So you know where you need to go so that you can position the story properly. And then most importantly, as you're pivoting, you want to know how to pivot and bring prospects and clients to a successful conclusion. That's all that we're going to cover in that next webinar. And we're going to get more into the conceptual. We'll blend it in with getting into, and we'll cite a couple of the carrier examples and get a little bit more into plan design in terms of what that looks like when you're going through that 5-step selling process, Tom.
You bet. Yeah, thanks, Dennis. And just on that webinar, the date we had on there, Dennis and I just threw that on there for when we had openings in our schedule. We're doing some traveling, etc. So I'm sure I got a couple people on my staff going, where did that come from? I didn't see that webinar on the schedule. So this date, I'm just going to go back there, May 29th at 12 Eastern time. That may not be the exact time if for some reason we have a conflict. So Lynn, I know you're probably listening going, that might not fit our schedule for what we're doing, but I think that should be pretty solid. And either way, when you get the slides for this presentation after this one today, we'll have something in there about when that next seminar is, and we'll send out emails, etc. for you as it approaches. So don't worry about that. But the key is that Dennis hit it right on the nose. The biggest thing we want to talk to you guys about is how important it is to start that conversation. All the pluses for you. I mean, I can't talk enough about these plans. They pay pretty well too. So not only will you be helping people, but you're going to be helping your bank, your checkbook as well. And the biggest thing we want you to do is know just how important it is, because like I said, we have a crisis in America. Medicare budgets are tight, Social Security budgets are tight, Medicaid budgets are tight. It's not going to get better. This entitlement mentality we have in America is going to get us in trouble as these baby boomers get older. I think we all agree and know that. So we have to have solutions for our clients. And if you can go out there and cross-sell, you get better persistency like we talked about. You get a great override check with these products because they are great renewals on these type of products. So there's a lot of pluses. And again, we don't get into commissions on these calls, but I can't stress enough the importance it is to help people and know that we have the tools to make it easy for you, so you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a whole new realm I'm getting into. It's pretty simple. And we give you those stats. And, you know, we gave a couple today. 70% of the folks are going to need care. Those are conversation starters. 3 out of 5 individual bankruptcies in this country are because of medical bills that people didn't plan on. And we have things like that where you don't kill them with stats, but you have some pretty good attention getters that will teach you as we start teaching you how to go in and start the conversation with these folks. So it's much easier than what you think it will be. And again, we've got some email templates and all these different things to be able to start out there and knock on the doors to get the heads turned to start with. And from there, all it is doing what you know is right. Some of these plans can be tremendous, tremendous lifesavers for your clients at the time of claim. So that being said, Dennis, I'll let you close it up, but I do want you to know, thank you so much. This is Tom Randall again from GoldenCare. Be on the lookout for the slides, the handouts for today. Be on the lookout in your emails for future webinars coming up. Check out that Integrity Short-Term Care site, integritystcc.com, so you can see some of those tools we showed you. And then, tell you what, I can't say it enough before I turn it back over to Dennis for final close. Get appointed with GoldenCare or talk to your marketer who got you on this call, and make sure you realize that they know they have a direct access to us, and we can help them help you as well. So we want to do our best to make sure all of you are feeling comfortable when it's time to get in the field. And I look forward to having some future training and diving into those fun topics with you as well in the future. So Dennis, go ahead and close her out. We'll say goodbye.
Thanks, Tom, and thanks everyone for joining us today. You know, I came across a quote that I thought was pretty profound, and it goes like this. It says, "Your life will not get better by chance." Think about that. It will only get better by change. And the same is true of your business. You know, unless you make a concerted effort to change and adopt, you know, cross-selling and adding more arrows in your quiver, you know, you're going to continue to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And of course, we know that that is what is the true definition of insanity. And so I would encourage you, you know, that it's easy. We're going to help you to see how simple these products really are. They're simple for you to understand. They're simple for you to be able to explain them to your clients. They're easy from an approval standpoint. When Tom was walking through the underwriting, once again, we're placing about 90%. Think about that. Our declinations in the traditional and the hybrid space for the other products are, you know, depending upon the age, can be as high as 50% and even higher when we get into the over 70 marketplace. And so think about this from the standpoint about having the opportunity to help more individuals, and with that wider net as far as the age bands going all the way up in many cases to 89. So I want you to know that the opportunity is no better than today for you to start, and that confidence of knowing that are not only being simple for you to understand and simple for you to be able to explain, easy for, again, for the approval, but we're talking about fast turnaround time. This is not like 4 or 8 weeks for the approval process. We're talking days, several days, 2 to 3 to 4 at best. And so this is something that you can embrace, and it's something you can get started. And we're here to be a resource and to help you. So thank you again for taking the time. And we look forward to having you join us on the next webinar, where we get a little bit more into the blocking and tackling and showing you really how to do this from a conceptual standpoint. And so this is Dennis Reiner along with Tom Randall. Thanks again for being with us today, and have a great rest of your day until we talk again. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
GoldenCare is always here to serve you with new tools, new products, new ideas, and new innovations, and always the best support in the business to help you succeed. So give us a call at 800-842-7799 and check out our website at www.goldencareagent.com.